live.
Okay, hey guys, what if the biggest lie you've been told is the very thing keeping you back from trading success? If this is a big lie, is there another path to market mastery? We're going to find out today. We're going to transition over into just saying good morning. I'm Dennis Wilborn. Welcome back to the Trading Truths podcast. And joining us from somewhere on the road is Mike Lamont. Mike, where are you? And thank God that Melissa's driving.
We're in the middle of somewhere. I'm not quite sure where. We were supposed to be going through North Carolina. We saw some signs that made us think that we were in Arkansas. So Jarek, we saw signs for Fayetteville. We saw signs for Bentonville. So I'm not sure if we made a wrong turn somewhere, but we just passed this Swift truck, and we're on our way to South Carolina right now.
Excellent. Yeah, look at all the greenery around you. That looks absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
So today we're going to be talking about a big myth. Mike, you brought this myth up, and it's the big myth is having to do with, do you need a financial degree to trade in the market successfully? And so Mike, why did you even bring that topic up? It's I know it's a big deal because I know a lot of people probably talk to you and say, I can't do this trading thing because I don't have a financial degree. So, why did you bring this one up?
Yeah, I was reading through some of the topics that we had. There's a lot of different myths that we want to debunk. That one jumped out at me. And, well, one of the things that jumped out at me about it is that a lot of people will think that trading is this complex thing, and that you need to know about PE ratios, that you need to know about all this different types of jargon. And I think that kind of stuff holds people back and makes them feel as though there's something that's missing, and that these bigger things that are missing are the reasons why that they're struggling.
Okay. So basically it's just one of those things where it's not a truth, it's a falsehood. But do you think that sometimes people seek out these lies? I was thinking about this as we were getting ready to go on. If you believe the lie, if you believe it, then you don't have to do anything to get better. You get the easy staying the same.
I think that part of it is, well, what do you believe? I think that part of it has to do with, all right, so there's the academia, right? And so you go to school, you get your degree, your 4-year degree, you get your master's, maybe you go for a doctorate, and then you could go and you could study finance, and that's a big thing.
Right.
And well, once you study this, then you'll know how to trade successfully, or you'll know about finances in general, and you'll graduate and you'll be able to do those things. And if you haven't gone and gotten that kind of level of schooling, well, then you're just kind of shooting from the hip and hoping for the best.
Yeah. Well, it almost seems like and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but it almost seems like the financial industry tries to promote this idea so that people will feel inadequate, and therefore they have to come and invest their money with that particular broker or advisor because they are the smart ones who know how to manage all the money. And we're going to get to the truth about that here shortly. But do you think that financial institutions basically mislead people on that?
Well, sure. Who's benefit? So if they're selling us a product, wouldn't it be in their interest to let us think that, that it's very complex and you need to have a deep understanding of balance sheets and cash flows and PE ratios, return on equity, all these different types of financial industries, understand that kind of stuff in order to make projections and in order to invest well.
Okay.
Right. So I think that the types of things that help them are not the same types of things that help you and I, because you and I are operating as retail investors.
Okay.
And well, we have a big advantage that the big institutions don't. And that big advantage is being nimble. We could get in and get out, and we don't have to act like a cruise ship that needs to look how many, like, I'm not sure how far ahead, but well, for flying, right? So you might be able to speak to this, but because you're a pilot. So how far in advance do you need to start making a turn before you want to make a turn? How many miles in front of you?
Well, partly it depends on how big the airplane you're flying, or how big the ship you're driving, how big it is, because like a lot of people don't realize this, that even on some of the high performance jets that I used to fly, to make a 180-degree turn, even if, like, clearly if I go to high G type of maneuver, all that kind of stuff, I can get it done in less time. But the high G's put a toll on your body, and also kind of mess with you a little bit. But if I was just doing a gradual, regular turn, okay, 1G turn, and I'm flying at 420 knots, it's going to take me 6 miles and about 3.5 to 4 minutes to make that full 180, well, the 180-degree turn. Think about that from a ship standpoint. A ship, like a battleship. A battleship sometimes will take 20 miles to turn around. I mean, that's insane. But that's how much it takes, because the inertia. Because I think what you're getting at is basically the inertia of big things do not make them very amenable to quick responses and taking advantage of immediate situations.
Right. So they'll explain to us that, oh no, you need to understand the full balance sheet of the corporation and what's their 5-year outlook. And sure, those things are very important for them, but we're not driving a cruise ship. We're not driving a battleship. Well, we're driving a jet ski. And so because we're able to be so much nimbler, it pays for us to be able to have an understanding of which way they're turning, and then we could ride their coattails.
Exactly. Well, then the question I have to ask you then, okay, because you have a financial degree, right?
Yes, I have two. I have a bachelor's in business and I have a master's in business.
Okay, so you have an
MBA. And that's real funny to bring up too. But go ahead, ask your question.
Well, why is it funny to bring that up?
Well, part of the reason why I think it's funny to bring up is because I did have finance classes there. And the finances classes that I had there did not help me trade one iota. In fact, I had to...
Okay, guys, we may have lost Mike, and he is right back with us. Lost you for a second, Mike, but you're right back with us now.
All right. Yeah, must have gone through. Yeah, the Matrix doesn't want you to hear this.
Somebody's listening. Anyway,
they are. So
anyway, you were saying,
line,
you were saying about, you were at the point where you're doing these classes and all that kind of stuff, and but it was leaving you short when it came to trading stuff.
Right. So I needed to unlearn a lot of what I learned in college in order to be an effective trader. They didn't teach us anything about technical analysis or position sizing or risk management or any of that kind of stuff. It was more about pick a company and try to project out where it's going to go, and then you invest in that. And if you want to make any kind of changes to your account, then you need to have do another forecast of why you're changing course, and then go into the next company for why you're going to be in that one for anywhere from a year to 5 years.
Okay.
And those were the types. That was the mindset, or the basic mindset, right? Like that. These courses were the semesters long, but that's the 1 minute synopsis of what we were being taught.
So, well, I feel kind of fortunate because I think I may have taken an economics class, and I took an engineering economics class and all that kind of stuff, but that was just to teach me how to do the books and plan for projects and understand how the value of money, how that worked. So I feel kind of grateful that I I never really learned the aspect of fundamentals, and now, but however, I recognize that understanding fundamentals or understanding the importance of fundamentals is important.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and that's one of the reasons why I hire Investor Business Daily to do my fundamental analysis for me. And if a stock meets their high level of requirements for fundamentals, then I can put that stock onto my list that I will look at trading. But then I go back totally to my belief, and I think it's been borne out over the years. My belief is that everything you need to know about a particular stock, if you know the fundamentals are okay, the rest of what you need to know about that is what you get off of the charts.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's
I agree. I agree.
yeah,
So stocks can move for a variety of different reasons,
right.
and I think that a lot of people like to speculate on the reasons that the stock is moving this way or that.
Okay.
The only thing that we actually know is that it moved,
Yeah. Yeah.
or what it's doing right now. That's the only thing that we actually know. But we also know that who's controlling the which way it goes, right? Big
Okay.
money, right? Like, it's
Okay.
not you and me. Yeah, it
Right.
takes lots and lots and lots of money in order to move a stock this way or that, in order to move a market this way or that. So we're able to see which way the cruise ship is turning. And because we know that it takes a long time for a cruise ship to turn, well, we could say, oh, look, it's turning that way. Great, let's head in that direction.
Yeah. And the cool thing about it is for traders like you and I, because we understand, I don't know, it's like we have a good knowledge level of things like fundamentals and all that kind of stuff. But then we have, I think, a more significant applied knowledge level because we have learned and taught ourselves how to recognize when the cruise ship is turning. And then secondly, we know we don't have to go along with the cruise ship for its
Mm-hmm.
complete turn. We can just go in for a piece of it and do very, very, very well.
Right, right. Well, we could see when the storm is rolling in and say, all right, time to head back to shore.
Yeah,
And let the
exactly.
cruise ship deal with the financial hurricane that's blown in. I mean,
Oh, that
that's what I ended up doing the last what was it, a couple of weeks ago, when
oh
the
yeah.
market took tumble, and then when it was ready to bounce back. Oh, did I lose you?
Yeah, no, I'm here.
Yeah, well, when it started to bounce back a couple of weeks ago, it was bouncing back right at an important technical level, right? It was bouncing off of the 200-day moving average.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
right. So when you're like us, retail people, retail investors. That's what I assume everybody that's listening, right? Or at least the vast majority of people. If we've got some institutional people, I'd love to hear from them. But for us, that's an important time to be able to get back in, and institutions, because they are slower getting it, for
Yeah.
them to get in at that 200-day moving average, that's a logical spot, because that's where the bigger current is.
Yeah, and we're going to get into that specifically about how, again, it's a different type of applied knowledge, because you just hit on something very important, and that is the aspect of, because when we recognize when the ship is turning, like a big company, like
Right.
Nvidia is a great example. When it came off of its bottom and then started to rally, it's rallied very nicely. And if you were trading the NVDL trade with that we've done here lately, it's up about 22.5% in just a few days. And what um, what I want to say about that is that being able to recognize the turn, and then also know that once the inertia of the institution starts heading in a particular direction, the trend, then then it will give you several more opportunities to get into a strong position or build a position, and then let your winners run from there. That's the beauty of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Um,
So so
but you
let's see
don't.
here.
So
Yeah.
the topic that, right, like, so we were saying that you don't need a finance degree
Right.
for any of this. Like, you don't need specialized knowledge. Well, but you need to. But there is some basic stuff that you need to be able to understand. If you're able to look at a chart and you're able to just see which way the lines are going, you're able to see if things are moving up. You're able to see if things are moving sideways. You're able to see if things are moving down, and take a look at those longer term trends.
Okay.
If you're able to read that, and if you're able to study that, and that it's simple enough, then you're able to figure out which way that ship is turning. You're also able to figure out if things are giving a good opportunity or not.
Yeah. Right on. Yes. And so can you basically, let me ask you a couple of more questions up. Um, so with the myth of I, you know, a it would seem that this myth, okay, the myth of I have to have a financial degree to be successful, would fit into a bucket of other myths, similar, that people could be dealing with also, so generating higher fear on their case, because they're afraid to be trading. But what are some of those other, what are a couple of other myths a person could be thinking about? One of the ones I know I hear quite often is, well, I'm not smart enough. I'm not smart enough to, and this is kind of a cousin to this myth of needing a degree.
Mm.
And so, if somebody approaches you with that excuse, what do you tell them?
Somebody was telling me that they're not smart enough. I would be, well, first thing that I like to do is to understand why, right? And to get to
Mm,
know somebody, because if I'm going to give somebody real advice, I want to understand them a little bit. So I'd be curious, well, why they think that. That would be my first question to them.
okay. And so, and then why? I mean, why? Like I said, when you ask the question why, and then what? I know you have
Well,
a really, yeah.
so it might be that maybe they made a lot of bad decisions already, right? Maybe they
Mm.
tried trading. Maybe they've blown up a few accounts,
Oh,
and
that's
they think
rich.
that, well, gee, here's some evidence. I blew up my accounts, and and that's why I'm not very good at. I might not be very smart, or at least I'm not very good at trading. So
Okay.
they might say that. They might come from another approach too. Maybe they didn't do well in school,
Hmm.
and maybe they're taking that as evidence. So there might be some sort of evidence that's suggesting that they're not smart. Maybe they're in a poor environment and people are telling them that. So it's
Oh,
not
wow.
their own thoughts. Maybe those thoughts came from somewhere else.
So in other words, they could basically be searching for evidence that searching for evidence that the lie that they're believing is the truth about them.
Right.
Whoa. So, well, what about, okay, let's just start blowing this thing out of the water here. We set the stage, we know what it's about and all that kind of stuff. We know it's a powerful myth. Myth, but let's dive into the heart of the truth about it. We're going to basically take the challenge, this belief head on, and show you why you don't need a financial degree to be successful in trading. And so, Mike, can you think there's a couple of real stories out here, so why is it that a person doesn't, that a degree doesn't guarantee success?
Yeah. You know what? I think that in many cases it gets in the way.
Oh,
The finance degree, or uh, sometimes even higher education can get in the way, because in order to trade well, it's you need to check your ego at the door.
yeah,
And often, well, when you think that you're smart or you're very successful in one area, that it'll translate well into trading,
yeah,
and that's often not the case at all.
yeah, right on.
And also on the other side, there's plenty of people that don't have the business degrees or finance degrees that are extremely successful. Mark Minervini dropped out of school in 8th grade,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
perfect example.
Yeah,
And
well, one of the best traders of our generation.
yeah, and
Well,
dropped out of.
what's your background? Right?
Are you
Well,
talking?
do you have a business degree?
Who, me? No, no. I have an engineering degree. Uh,
Okay.
I have a couple of masters and all that kind of stuff. So I qualify for the, I guess I qualify from the intellectual standpoint. Uh, at the same time, though, one thing my dad used to use this saying that I kept in my mind, and I still rely on it. He basically, my dad did not finish high school, but he was a really wise person, because after, even though he didn't have a degree in, from high school, he kept learning. He kept
Mm-hmm.
learning. He was always learning. He was always tinkering. He was always figuring out how things worked. I love that about my dad. But my dad used to say, because he was in construction, the engineers would come onto the construction site quite often, and they would basically poo-poo the ideas of the regular worker bees out there, even though the worker bees may have had a really great idea. And so my dad would say, well, clearly they are educated past their intelligence.
Mm.
And I would just laughingly
Educated
go,
past their intelligence. That's an interesting one.
yeah. And so I love that comment. And so I remember that. And um, also remember that no matter how much a person learns, that learning is, unless it's been applied, then it
Mm-hmm.
becomes applied knowledge and wisdom. The learning is only just a piece of it. It's important, but it's almost like in the United States and maybe around the world today, we put such a credence on, well, if you want to do better, you got to learn more. And I come at that from a slightly different perspective. I say that if you want to do better, yes, you may have to learn. You have to learn the right things, and also apply what you've learned, and then you will do better. So that's
Oh,
why
sure, that's so important. Like I've seen uh, people that will brag about how many books they read in a year. Oh, like I read 100 books a year, and
yeah,
think that that's the path. Well,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
wonderful. How much of it have you actually applied? Because if
yeah.
you
I
haven't
know.
applied anything, then yeah, you're gathering all this knowledge. But if you're not doing anything with it, well, what good is that? It's better
Yeah, I mean,
to take something and actually apply it, and then you're learning at a much deeper level.
and yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. I mean, so like you can gain and gather in all this knowledge and still be dumber than a rock, you know, because you don't know how to apply it and you're not applying it. And so, isn't that right, Melissa?
Oh,
It applies to writing also. I know someone who did all this research on writing, and like they crafted the whole book and everything. And I said, "Oh, did you actually start writing page one?" And they said, "Oh no, they were too scared to actually apply it because because they were just too busy like crafting like how they were going to do it, but they never actually started page one. So it applies to not just trading, but so many different areas of your life because it's fear that's really stopping you from taking that step.
yeah,
I love that.
Melissa's a writing coach. She's an author, and she was also my editor on the books that I've written too, including the Trading Mind Wheel.
That's awesome. No, you mentioned something. You call it. You said fear. Um, I think part of the thing is fear, but let's dig in a little bit deeper. You know, so how does learning through experience and practice compare to learning from informal education? We've talked a little bit about that. That's one of the things that I learned early on. Actually, when the
That's an
Navy,
interesting one.
when the
Fear
Navy.
is so say that again. It's fear learning through a formal education versus fear learning on your own. Or
Well,
what was
no,
the word they used?
how does learning through experience and practice compare to learning through formal education?
Oh well, the
And
stakes are a lot higher. The stakes are a lot higher when you're learning through formal education. There's no real stakes aside from, oh well, am I going to get a good grade or not?
okay, yeah,
But aside from that, nothing else is on the line, and you've got plenty of other people around you to bounce ideas off of it, and it's fun. But well, when you get to real life, yeah, the stakes are a lot higher. You're out there, you're on your own, you're not sure, and it's scary. It can be very scary.
yeah. Well, they call it real life because it's real,
Yeah.
right? And so, but it talks a lot about part of what Jim Rohn made a quote one time. He says um, that effort, putting in the effort to basically engage, learn, practice, experience, that weighs pounds. Regret, which is partly to what Melissa had to say about people not even wouldn't even start their writing on the one page. Regret weighs tons. So effort weighs pounds, and that regret of never starting or never learning, weighs tons. So, hey,
Yeah,
here's a couple of
absolutely.
examples. I'm gonna mention some names here, and you tell me what you think about them because each one of these guys didn't have a degree. However, um, they did okay for themselves. Okay. Um,
Okay.
okay, you ready? Now
Yeah.
it's gonna be far ranging here. So, Henry Ford.
Henry Ford. Did he
Yep.
have a degree or no?
He did not have any formal education whatsoever because he was deemed retarded by the educational
Wow.
system.
Crazy.
Yeah, I knew that he didn't have a formal education, but I didn't know that he was deemed retarded.
Yeah. So,
Wow. All right.
okay. Andrew Carnegie.
Andrew Carnegie. Yeah, I'm gonna go with
No.
no.
Know what?
that he didn't have formal education.
You're absolutely right. Andrew Carnegie. Andrew
was it?
Carnegie started in literally on the line in the steel mill that he eventually wound up owning, and the steel company that he wound up owning. What
All right.
about Einstein?
Einstein. We were talking about Einstein
I
earlier.
read the book about his wife. I would say yes, he did have a formal education.
He had a formal education, but he was also deemed as being a slow learner also.
He was terrible in math, right? Like that was his thing. He was never very
Yep.
good at math.
That was his thing. And then there was a guy who, oh gosh, what was his? Marconi, who invented the wireless radio. He had some formal education, but he was so passionate about the idea of the wireless radios that his friends actually had him committed to an insane asylum. So now, recognizing that doesn't have anything to really do with the formal education, but there's a couple of guys here. What about Richard Dennis? He started Richard Dennis, and what is Richard Dennis? What was his Wall Street nickname?
Wall Street nickname? I don't know.
Okay, it was the Prince of the Pit.
The Prince of the Pit.
Prince of the Pit. The
Okay.
trading. He started out with $1,600 and turned it into. What's that?
Yeah, no, I was going to say, well, was he the turtle traders?
He's the turtle trader guy.
Yes.
He started out with $1,600 and turned it into $20 million over a 10-year period without a financial degree. So what made him successful? Well, I'm glad you asked. It was basically.
Yeah, what made him successful?
Okay, he had a strategy, discipline, and a deep understanding of the markets that he developed on his own, much like Bill O'Neill, right?
Yeah. How
He
about
believed
Jesse Livermore?
Well, Jesse Livermore, another one of those. Jesse Livermore had no formal education. Matter of fact, he learned his trading in the bucket shops back in the day. And he's one of the most famous traders ever. Livermore started at a very young age. I mean, he was doing this like I want to say when he was 14, 15 years old. So his story is the power of intuition, self-learning, resilience, because he lost several fortunes, but then came back, and his ability to read the markets and act decisively made him a success. And it sounds like, Mike, what you were saying about some of the business education that you received, they taught a decision process, but it took you a long time to basically act decisively in that.
Right. And I think that there's a point where people go astray with some of this too, because, and I, speaking from my own experience, where you might think that, so you don't need this formal education in order to trade well. And these other people are learning from their experience. So I'm going to learn from my experience, but every single one of them had structure, right? Like it's not where they were just willy-nilly in the market. Each one of them didn't approach it from academia, but they approached it from their own experience. They approached it from studying the market, seeing what they saw, and applying it that way. And they made their own structure. So they had their own plans. So, I think that you have what I would call a business plan. You can formally lay out for yourself, okay, here's what I'm going to do, here's what I'm going to study, here's how I'm going to act and why, and you're able to make a process for yourself, and then you have something concrete to adhere to, versus having a very casual, laissez-faire approach to trading.
It's almost
a speed trap ahead. You got to be careful.
Yeah, Hey, we could get that on tape. No, so anyway, no, I agree with that wholeheartedly. And then another trader who was actually, is quite good. I know you know who he is, but Ed Sakota. Ed Sakota did not have any He did not have a financial degree, but he focused on innovation and discipline. He was kind of the pioneer in the area of computer-based trading and systems. And his approach, you mentioned this before, his approach was all about combining technology with sound trading principles. And he showed that being ahead of the curve and constantly adapting were keys to his success.
For a half mile, take exit 46 to 46A, 46B toward North Carolina 87, Fayetteville.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
So there are certain personality traits that I think do help you as you become a successful trader. Like you mentioned, discipline. Like some people want to be a trader, but they're not disciplined, or they don't have the structure or know how to create that structure. I remember, Mike, at one point you had the binders. Remember when you had all your trading printed things out and you had it in a binder where he was keeping things organized for his trades before he had all these different tools.
Yes. And it's that it's that, well, you hit on it earlier, both of you guys, is the aspect. It's the aspect of structure, and a lot of people don't. They just don't. It's like I said in my earlier comment. If you believe the lie, then you don't have to do anything to get better. You can you get the easy, you get the ease of staying the same. And the fact of the matter is to become a great trader, and I think even to some extent a great investor, you have got to basically conquer yourself. And which brings us to, what role does mindset and discipline play in trading, and how do they compare to the knowledge gained from, having a financial degree?
I think that mindset plays a big role. I kind of wrote a book that's based on that. So, what role does mindset play? Well, mindset is our beliefs and our belief systems. That's what I think about mindset. So, if we want to trade, then we need to understand what our beliefs are about trading, about money, and about ourselves. Because if we don't have alignment in those areas, then we'll run into some speed bumps. So, for example, let's say that you studied O'Neill and Sakota and the other people that you mentioned, and it all makes sense. You have the structure, and you're ready to go out there and execute. But you also have some beliefs about yourself that, I'm not very smart. I'm not very good at following directions. I'm seeking freedom, and my idea of freedom is the ability to do what I want.
Okay.
So those are all things that could get into your way from being able to execute, even if you do have a solid plan, right? So if you have a solid plan and say that you have a belief that says, I want freedom, and I think that freedom is the ability to do what I want, then that could get in your way, because you might say that, oh, well, here's a trade that I want to try. I want freedom, so I'm just gonna put my money in this and see how it goes.
Yeah, exactly. And so, and free, and I got to thinking, it's freedom to do what you want isn't necessarily freedom, because I believe, and again, this is through years of experience, the voice of experience, is that freedom actually comes from discipline. Did I lose you, Mike?
lose you? Oh, there you are.
There you go. Now, I was saying that freedom actually comes from discipline. We know that from we both are we love to study the ancient script and the Bible and all that kind of stuff, and we know what it says there that is that where wisdom comes from, and that it talks about the true freedom comes not by obeying these rules, regulations, and all that kind of stuff, but having the knowledge of how to apply this wonderful guidebook that God has given us, and to what we how we act, and then that in itself brings on freedom. So, big question for the folks out there. Um, what's your suggestions? How can someone start learning and building the skills that they need to trade successfully, regardless of their educational background? What are some of just a couple of the skills? What one skills? I know for me, Mike, the one skill or one trait that I think a person needs to hone in on is a willingness to learn and change.
Yeah, that's a good one. You have to be adaptable.
And so, what's your thoughts on that?
On the different skills that people need?
Yeah.
All right. So, again, wrote a book about what skills people need. So
I am really doing a great. I'm really doing a great job. I'm sorry about that. I said I'm doing a really good job of promoting your book today.
Yeah, you're really teeing it up today for the Trading Mind Wheel.
Okay.
Really teeing it up for the Trading Mind Wheel, the 8 essential skills that are needed for trading mastery. So first off, we have mindset. We spoke a little bit about that. Next, I would say journaling is a very important skill.
Yep.
Journaling is an important skill because people need to be able to learn, write down what it is that they're studying. Like, so when you're trading, you need to be able to want to assess what worked, what didn't. You could do more of what worked, less of what didn't. You have something to go back and refer to.
It's good.
So journaling is very important for traders, and I've yet to meet a successful trader that's been successful for many years that at least at some point never logged or tracked or did any form of journaling at all.
Ties back to discipline.
It does tie back to discipline. Yep. But you also need to have certain beliefs about journaling too. Like if you think that journaling's a pain in the behind and a big waste of time, you're probably not going to do it, even if you hear from experienced people that, hey, I've done this and here's the result. And you hear that 100 times, you're just like, yeah, you know what, that's not for me.
Ties back to weight loss too. Like I had to keep a track of a journal with my nutritionist to kind of see, like, you forget like you had that snack or forgot you had that. So you're actually like being true and staying consistent with tracking the types of foods you're eating during the day. So I think the same thing applies for weight loss, and staying disciplined and staying consistent with it is a huge piece of that. Just like
right on.
Right.
So,
right.
So, and if if somebody is looking for a journal, this is a really good one. It's the AutoPilot
Trade Journal. The AutoPilot Trade Journal.
And trade log, basically.
Can you flip through that for us, Dennis? Let's see what the inside looks like.
Well, inside.
It's like a high-quality book.
It is a high-quality book. Anyway, it basically shows you how to set up your trades, and actually has a copy of my trading rules. But my son Brandon built this, put it together. He's the one who's the author in the family, and the inside of this was liked so much that a trading firm in Great Britain actually bought it or licensed utilizing this trade journal and gave it away as Christmas presents to their guests or to their traders last year. So that was kind of cool. And so,
hey,
cool. let's start running down into the resolution. We've identified the problem. We've also showed that that we've debunked it by showing examples of people who didn't have degrees who have done really well. So let's throw together some action steps for what people can do moving forward to if this is something that really it is impacting you. So what are some of the actionable steps as aspiring traders you can take? Mike has already hit on a couple of them, but first, what's the first step someone should take if they're interested in trading but don't have a formal financial background? My suggestion is to, one, get a great book and start there. You've got Mike's Trading Mind Wheel book. You've got my Trade Your Way to Freedom book. You've got Bill O'Neill's book, several of them. But if by reading those books, it will at least get you introduced to some of the themes and concepts and all that kind of stuff. So what's another first step a person can take, Mike?
All right. So after they've read some of the stuff and they start to find something that, oh, hey, I like this. This really resonates. See if that person offers some sort of mentoring or coaching, so that way you can start to work with them. And then, hey, you're not doing it alone anymore. Now you've got somebody there to help make sure that you're headed in the right direction. And I think that takes a lot of the fear out, because when you're trying to trade on your own and you're trying to do this in real life and you're out in the field alone, you're worried about the wolves that are going to come and eat you alive. But if you have a coach or a mentor that are there guiding you, then they're able to be the good shepherd.
Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. The next thing I would say is that develop a routine as another thing, and part of that will be, as you develop your plan, make sure you include within the plan a routine. That's a daily routine, a weekly routine, what kind of stocks routine to go along with your written plan. And
routines are very important, and to adjust your routine for your life.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, look at us right now on a road trip.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I know.
Exactly.
Lily,
So,
smile for everybody.
yeah, say hi, Lily.
Like, what is your trading right now? Do you have a stop loss in place for us? We're on vacation. Like, how are you adapting for your life right now?
So how I'm trading when I'm in front of the desk is very different to how I'm trading right now. I have a couple of trades on right now, but I'm not. I'm obviously not actively watching the market. So
exactly. And
so you need to have plans and routines for all different sorts of things. For how you're going to trade if you're still working full time. How you're going to trade when you're on vacation, if you're going to have any trades on at all.
Yep. And it's almost like your routine is you need to develop what's called an SOP, standard operating procedures, and you take into consideration things like you guys are on a trip right now. I can tell you're so worried about your trades that you have on.
Absolutely.
You
know what? We almost hit a tree earlier. I don't know if you caught that.
Wait, what?
Melissa, keep your eyes on the road. So the next step is, developing a right mindset. We've talked about that, and Mike, and your book was about developing the right mindset. What are some of the other practical ways? I mean, I firmly believe that in utilizing affirmations to basically replace the lies with the truth. But you can't do that just one time. Do one affirmation, goes, okay, I'm good, let's go. No, it takes repeating day after day after day after day, much like Napoleon.
What are some of the affirmations that you repeat?
Well, right now I'm
give
working.
us one. Give us one or
Well,
two.
right now I am. Hold on. You wouldn't say that. It's right over here. Ah. Okay, so the affirmations are. Okay, here's one of the ones I do. I am confident in my ability to grow my Thinkorswim brokerage account to $150,000 by the end of 2024. And then I go on with
Okay.
I trust in my skills, knowledge, and strategic approach I've developed. Each decision I make is guided by wisdom and precision, leading me closer to my financial goals. Then number 2 is God guides my every step in the journey towards financial freedom and success. I walk in faith, knowing that God is with me, directing my path. I trust in his plan for my life, and I embrace the abundance he has in store for me. And that's part of this. And I learned how to do
And
that.
what was that paper that you just held up?
That
What
is
was that?
It's called my morning affirmation script. And then and it finishes off with a prayer. And then I have my evening affirmation that I want to do last half hour before going to bed. And then I spend some time doing visualizations of that also. What's it going to feel like? And this is in a particular account that I've been working with my wife and I. And and we have an objective. We want to get to a certain point this year so that my regular weekly work will be able to basically replace our monthly salary in one fell swoop. It looks like I'm losing. I don't know if I got you, Mark.
Setting a goal, that's huge. By the end of this,
Yeah, it's breaking up a little bit, guys. Okay, as we're waiting for Mike and Melissa to get back with us, the next one is in developing the right mindset. Secondly, next is learn from your mistakes. And learn from your mistakes. Mistakes are inevitable. They're going to happen. Even if you hit 50% of your trades are winner and 50% of them. Okay. Yeah, guys, you're breaking up and I think I've lost you. So learn from your mistakes. Every mistake is a lesson. But that was one of the biggest things I had to learn is to recognize that when I had a losing trade, it was not necessarily a bad thing. It was just a mistake. It was and so I would say, rather than categorizing the trade as being bad, as long as I followed my rules on that trade, I could say it was a good trade because I followed my rules. What did I learn? What did I learn from this trade? Did I do anything? Did I make a mistake that needs to be corrected? Is how I would do that.
Oh, sure. All those trades, they're all valuable teachers, the good ones and the bad ones. The way that I like to do it is I'll journal all those trades, then I'll wait a period of time, like say about a month, and then go back and review all the trades. So that way it's looking at them through a fresh set of eyes, and there's less emotion attached to them. Then I'm able to pick up on certain tendencies that I've had, or even following different rules. Like, okay, I thought that this rule is leading me here. How good is this rule? And there's something that I didn't think about. Let's tweak it.
Okay, great. So, well, then what about how do you encourage?
Wrap up soon.
Yeah, how do you encourage your continuous learning?
How do I encourage it?
Yeah.
Through conversations like this.
Okay.
You need to get around other people. So this is one of my personal education hacks. Starting a podcast with Dennis, so that way we could tune in each week, and I could have almost a semi-private coaching session here with you.
No, you're too kind, Mike. That because it means a lot to me also to be able to do these because it's just the back and forth is really absolutely phenomenal. I love the way you're designed and the way you think through things, and so
I appreciate
um,
that. But yeah, there's a lot to that old phrase of iron sharpens iron.
yeah.
And so for everybody out there that's listening to you, you got to find somebody that you could go and work with together. I think that'll be a great help. I know that there's different services out there. You have your service with AutoPilot trading. I have mine with Mara Wealth. But find somebody that resonates with you, that you've studied some of their stuff, you like it, and see if they offer something where you could work with them. And I think that that's one of the quickest ways to start to have some real success with this game.
Exactly. And so, okay, hey guys, to everyone who's listening out there, remember that that success in trading isn't about your degree; it's about your dedication and your mindset and your willingness to learn and adapt. Next week, we're going to we are so fortunate to have Sean Vincent, who is a contemporary of Adam Sarhan, who was with us last week. And Sean is going to be with us to show his approach to trading for a living. It is very unique, and also some of the hurdles and some of the myths he had to jump over in order to basically trade for a living successfully. So, Mike, Melissa, and Lily, it's thank you for letting me into your car while you're driving down the freeway.
Yeah, I'm glad that this worked out.
And so I
Nice
Thanks,
look.
man.
chatting with you all.
Okay, and have a great rest of your trip. Keep your eyes on the road, and I'll just say aloha and God bless everybody.
Take care. Bye, everybody.
See you, Mike. We'll catch up later, bud.
All right, take care.